Pages Online. This is a special edition called Tuesday's Tips. Every Tuesday we're going to post a new tip on how to use our special sponge painting system. These are designed specifically to give you additional information as you continue your growth in our program. Let's get a start and take a look at today's tip. In some of our art class videos, you have seen what I like to do is turn the painting upside down. There's a reason for that. This is the reason. Let me show you. You will notice that what I'm doing is I am putting the brush down and I am simply pulling it towards myself and lifting the pressure to make it go thin. If I had to do the same thing in this direction, oh my stars, look at how my angling of my hand is bent. I'll show you again here. Look, if I had to pull up on the brush, look how uncomfortable that angle is for my wrist. Watch this. If I turn the painting upside down, all I have to do is pull the brush down. Just pull that brush nice and easily down the page. It's so simple. And again, by lifting the pressure. Now, one of the things we talk about in our videos about painting trees is something that we say we want to avoid. And we want to avoid this like the plague. It's what we call the devil's pitchfork. I'll go ahead and do that again to get a little longer of a line. There we go. The devil's pitchfork is this. When you put your branch on the tree, it goes off to one side. But if you take the next branch and you put it across from it on the same side, look what you have. The devil's pitchfork. This is what we want to avoid. This does not look natural. And yet so many people, when they go to paint trees, this is the shape they end up with. It's not a good idea. There's an easy way to avoid the devil's pitchfork. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and plant the tree here, and we'll pull up with that nice soft lifting motion to get it to go from thick to thin. Now, when you plant your branch, you want to put it over here. When you go to put the next branch, you do not want it directly across from the other branch. You want to put it either above that branch or below that branch. Watch what we're going to do. One over here, one over here. Well, look at that. This looks far more natural than the devil's pitchfork. This is what we want to avoid, and this is what we want to do. Just alternating every other makes it look far more natural. And when you go to branch off other branches here, the same rule applies. You don't want to put another branch directly there. You want to alternate so that it's every other. Again, that will be a far more natural looking branching of your tree. Now, we've kind of given you a few basic ideas here. Let's get a clean piece of paper and show you a few more things. In some of our art classes, especially the one that is the very first #1 painting, we talk about people asking us that basic standard question, Steve, how do you paint trees? And my answer is always, why? And they say, no, I'm asking you a question. How do you paint trees? And my answer is always, why? Would you like to see why? Let me show you why. When you go to plant your tree, you're going to utilize that same motion to start thick and to get thin. But if you're looking for a natural looking tree, you can start with the letter Y. This is the letter Y. And this is why we highly recommend that you start with this shape to paint your trees. Then when you go to branch off the rest of your branches, you follow that same rule to stay away from the devil's pitchfork, and you alternate every other branch on either side of the branching, and look what you have. You have tiny, tiny little Ys that are created. All trees have one key rule. They must be thicker at the bottom and they must be thinner at the top. This is why we teach you that trick, to push down with the brush and pull up to create a line that starts thick and goes thin. Even if you're going to start with a straight branch of a tree like this, you're still, when you go to branch it off, you're going to follow the rule to keep it thicker at the bottom, thinner at the top, and again, avoiding the devil's pitchfork. If your branches cross over each other, that's not a problem. But you'll notice as I reach for the sky and branch off my branches, not only are they little tiny Ys over and over again, but you're also finding that these branches here are thinner than the ones at the bottom. If it turns out that you didn't get this part thinner and this part is too thin down here, you can always come back here and broaden up the base. The reason is because you want to make sure that the base holds the weight of the tree. If you ended up with a really thick branch over here, see, this tiny branch there is not going to hold the thickness of that. You're going to have to come back into the tree and broaden up that branch and then taper it off so it thins out like we've been talking about. There, see, now that branch will now hold the thickness of all those other branches at the top. Sometimes in our program, we also create what are called, well, bonsai trees. That's what I call them, bonsai trees. And for a bonsai tree, you want to think of me. Why? Well, no, not really me. What you want to think about is the letter S for Steve. That's my name, Steve. And I can show you that either an S or a backwards S creates some of the best bonsai trees. Let me show you what we're talking about. Again, we're going to use a small brush to demonstrate this, but you can do the same with a large brush if you want. Now, what we're talking about is we're going to want a bonsai tree. Now, if I was going to create the bonsai tree, I start by pushing down really hard, and I'm going to create this S shape. It's not a perfect S as you would write someone's name, but it is kind of like an S shape. And you'll notice I want to be able to get the bottom of the S thicker than the bottom. Now, once that is created and you have that S shape, we want to go back to the Y shape rule for the rest of the branching of the trees. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create other tiny little Y shapes within that bonsai, and this gives us more of a bonsai shape for the tree rather than the Y shape that we started off with for the others. This is more of a bonsai shape. Okay, so there's another aspect to painting trees. We hope that you have enjoyed this little video and that this tip was helpful for you. For more of Tuesday's Tips, check out our website under the free classes for Tuesday's Tips. If you want, also check out the full video, which is all about learning how to paint with our sponge system, which is the free video on our website, The #1 Painting. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.